All right. So Robert F. Kennedy Jr. claims the Trump administration asked him to be his VP. Here is what Robert F. Kennedy Jr. just tweeted. He says, President Trump calls me an ultra left radical. I'm so liberal that his emissaries asked me to be his VP. I respectfully declined the offer. I am against President Trump, and President Biden can't win. Judging by his new website, it looks like President Trump knows who can actually beat him. Really interesting that Trump asked him to be his VP. This is the smartest thing that could have ever happened for the Trump administration. I mean, unfortunately, Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said no. But this is what I predicted. I really believed that the campaigns, if they were smart, both the Trump and the Biden administration campaigns, and maybe Kennedy's waiting for a Biden offer, but their best play would be to bring him into the fold and make him VP. Clearly, the Trump team is smarter politically than the Biden team at this point. The Trump team seems to know what's good for them, and for them to have reached out to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., according to Robert F. Kennedy Jr., I have no reason to think that he's lying about this. But yeah, I mean, this would have been the smartest play for Trump, and it would have been honestly the smartest play for Kennedy, because the reality is Trump is likely to win the presidency, making Kennedy the vice president, which would just, with Trump only having one term left, would put Kennedy in prime position to then actually become president of the United States. He has no chance to become president of the United States with Nicole Shanahan as his running mate. And they're just going to split. No one, the people that want to vote for Trump are going to vote for Trump. He might take some people from Biden because people don't want to vote for Biden. He's not likely to take any of the people from Trump. The Trump team might believe that he can. Certainly, I think there's definitely a faction of people out there that if they have an alternative option besides Trump, they'll take it. They're Republican voters. They like Trump, enough to vote for him if they have no other options. But if they have another option, they might vote for someone else. But they're going to do a calculation come the general election. And they do not want, those voters are 100% anti-Biden. They're not necessarily pro-Trump voters, but they are anti-Biden voters. So they will not vote for Kennedy if they think a vote for Kennedy might result in a vote for Biden. On the other hand, so it's the opposite psyche as to what the Biden team or what Democrats in general have been playing, the game that they've been playing all along, which is you can't let Trump win. Trump is a disaster, anybody but Trump. And so you don't want to vote third party like somebody, anybody else, because if you do, you're going to end up with Trump. That worked in years past. I don't think that works anymore for Democratic voters. I think Democratic voters that believed that rhetoric that the world will end if Trump is president and the world will be much safer and better if Biden is president, those voters are now disillusioned. They don't believe that Biden is truly a better choice. They're probably shrugging their shoulders and saying, what's the difference? And in some cases, many of his very passionate voters are saying Trump would maybe be better. So he's lost, Democrats have lost the narrative on that. And they're thinking, it's a coin flip. Biden was not actually better than Trump. Trump voters, on the other hand, who might think that same way, they're not going to be, oh no, they are how do I phrase this? They will believe that Biden is the worst person. They do believe anybody but Biden. So it's interesting. The narrative is flipped. The game is flipped. It's now Republicans who think, oh my gosh, anybody but this disaster of a president. And honestly, for good reason. Biden has proven to be more dangerous, put us in more war, put us in harm's way more. The economy's worse. Everything is worse off under Biden. And Democrats were the ones that implemented lockdowns and vaccine mandates. They were the ones that really, truly have put our lives, they've just been a disaster. All because of their Trump derangement syndrome. So now the people, they don't want Biden at all costs. They're not. So the gamble for Kennedy is if you join Trump, he's going to win. That would shore up that ticket to ensure a win. He could have ensured himself as vice president of the United States, which would have only led to the very likely path for him to become president of the United States in 4 years. So this was an idiotic decision for him to not join that ticket. And it makes me wonder what his political ambitions actually are. What is he actually in the game for? If he's in it to win it, that's the path to win it. 100%, that's the path to win it. But to stay out of the game and to say, well, okay, Trump, knowing that all these voters are going to vote for Trump because they don't want Biden, he might get some of the Biden voters But it's not going to be enough. What he is going to do is ensure Trump wins. Well, if you're going to ensure Trump wins, don't you want to be his VP? He's not going to ensure Biden wins. He's not going to take enough voters from Trump. He's just not. So I think this was a real miscalculation. Let me show you, though, what he was referring to, what Trump had said. So Trump had posted this out on Truth Social. This was, a couple of weeks ago, he posted this out. He says, RFK Jr. is the most radical left candidate in the race by far. He's a big fan of the Green New scam and other economy-killing disasters. I guess this would mean he is going to be taking votes from crooked Joe Biden, which would be a great service to America. His running mate, Nicole Shanahan, is even more liberal than him, if that's possible. Kennedy is a radical left Democrat and always will be. It's great for MAGA, but the communists will make it very hard for him to get on the ballot. Expect him and her to be indicted any day now probably for environmental fraud. He is crooked Joe Biden's political opponent, not mine. I love that he's running. So Kennedy's kind of pointing at that and saying, oh, well, you're scared. You're so scared. And the reason why you're scared, you're scared. You're posting this stuff and you're only posting this stuff if you're scared. Otherwise, you wouldn't be posting this. I agree with that for a normal person, but Trump is not a normal person. I think Trump is really just saying what he thinks. And I think that he's mad that Kennedy turned down his offer to be VP because that was an incredible offer, an incredibly generous offer on the Trump side, considering Kennedy's been a Democrat and ran as a Democrat up until just recently. So, and his family is Democrats. It's so for Trump to extend that offer and for Kennedy to turn it down, it was a giant just ego slap in the face. It's not going to hurt Trump or his campaign. It just isn't. But it's an ego slap. Like, what? You don't want to be VP of the United States of America? Are you crazy? And so I think Trump is just lashing out, saying what he thinks. And I don't think he's just trying to go after Kennedy or trying to smear him. I think he's just really saying what he thinks. And to be honest with you, I mean, I don't agree with all the things he's saying, but I agree with the sentiment. I think this is the dumbest decision. If that offer was extended to Kennedy, he's an idiot for turning it down. He's an idiot. He's just an absolute idiot for turning it down. He could have been president of the United States in 4 years. VP, and then they keep trying to take Trump out. So he very well could have ended up being president in fewer than 4 years. But I do think this was a totally, totally tone deaf, dumb decision on Kennedy's part. Trump obviously lashing out after Kennedy says no, chooses Nicole Shanahan. They are clearly more on the left, those two together. They're clearly going after more of the Democratic voter. And they're not going to get all of the Democrats, so Trump is right. He's just splitting the vote for Biden, ensuring Trump wins. Again, if that's what Kennedy's play is to ensure Trump wins, why wouldn't you want to be his VP? I don't know. The whole thing doesn't make sense, except if you're just politically tone deaf. But I'd love to hear from you. What do you think? Email me, Kim@KimIverson.com. What is your take on this? I would absolutely love to hear from you.